Hello, viewers of The Pioneer. How are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. So, as the Pioneer team, we continue to share our report on Russia-Ukraine war with you. We will soon share with you a very interesting event that took place with borders of the Russian Federation. As it is well known, before the war started, Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, was preparing the ground for the invasion of Ukraine using the various methods. Of course, one of the important steps in this regard was to mentally capture Ukrainian officials. Some of them fell into this trap of the president of the Russian Federation, Putin. But the betrayal is never forgotten, and the price of the betrayal will certainly be paid one day. We can say that there is a tacit cooperation between the Russian people and the Ukrainian people on this issue, because the officials who betrayed Ukraine worked for Vladimir Putin and the president of the Russian Federation. Therefore, we can say that they are common enemies of both the Ukrainians and Russians. For this point of view, the assassination attempt that we will share with you in a little later makes more sense. So, what is this assassination development? Let's analyze the latest developments together. So, before moving on to our report, I would like to make a small reminder. As the Pioneer team, we continue to share our report on Russia-Ukraine war with you. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily reports. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the videos. Thank you for your support. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. So, despite all the efforts, the fierce war launched by Russia now is in its second year, continues unabated, and the Ukrainian armed forces are fighting a truly extraordinary battle. And the Russian armed forces, on the other hand, even if they are able to fight on the front line, have great difficulties in continuing the war due to the difficult situation behind the front line. The news coming from behind the front line causes the Russian armed forces to lose moral and mentally affected. The Russian armed forces are in a period of severe collapse due to these losses, and the Russian war leadership is unable to take effective action on this issue. Assassinations are undoubtedly among the most important and remarkable events of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Since the beginning of the war, quite remarkable assassinations have occurred, and the Russian Federation was in a very difficult situation due to these assassinations, because, as it is known, when the Russian Federation started the invasion attempt in Ukraine, it acted by the promising security to the people in the regions it occupied. So, however, this never happened because the occupation administration was also targeted by the assassinations, and the Russian intelligence was not successful in preventing these assassinations. So, of course, similar situations occurred in the areas within the borders of the Russian Federation. A recent assassination is an example of this. A large explosion occurred in the car in which Vasil Prozorov, a former Ukrainian intelligence officer who betrayed Ukraine and crossed over to the Russian side, openly supporting the occupation of Ukraine, was traveling. According to the information obtained from the regional sources, former Ukrainian intelligence Vasil Prozorov got into car in the morning, and when he started the ignition of the car, a large explosion occurred in the vehicle, and as a result of the explosion, Vasil Prozorov was seriously injured and hospitalized. According to reports, the assassination attempt in question occurred in the vicinity of Krasnovinskoye. Moreover, Russian intelligence was again insufficient to prevent this assassination attempt. So, how did this assassination take place? There are many different claims on this issue. According to the first allegation, Russian partisan groups had previously obtained some information about Vasil Prozorov from Ukrainian sabotage groups with which they were in contact, and the Russian partisan groups mobilized around this information and followed Vasil Prozorov for a long time. Vasil Prozorov's every step was known to the Russian partisans, and therefore the partisans had prepared a marvelous assassination plan. Similar assassinations had taken place before, and according to the allegations, Russian partisan groups had planted a motion-sensitive bomb in Vasil Prozorov's car. When Prozorov started his car, the vehicle exploded. And according to another allegation, this bomb was remote-controlled. In other words, Vasil Prozorov was expected to get into the vehicle and move. In this way, it was aimed to carry out this attack after Vasil Prozorov moved away from crowded areas. However, luckily, Vasil Prozorov survived alive. And according to some allegations, Vasil Prozorov was not intended to be destroyed. It was only a threat. In other words, Russian partisan groups were clearly attempting a threat. According to those who put forward these claims, the message that the Russian partisans groups wanted to send to the Russian leadership and its supporters was, we are still here. We have the ability to harm you anytime and anywhere we want. And we see you and we are watching you. And your supporters are potential targets. Russian intelligence cannot harm us. You cannot harm what they cannot see. Indeed, the Russian partisan groups have a justified position, and the Russian intelligence is very insufficient in this. Inefficiently of the Russian intelligence can lead to the big problems, and this assassination was related to a person who betrayed Ukraine and changed sides. It is very likely that the Russian partisan groups will target Russian officials in the coming days because they have done this many times. However, due to the inadequacy of the Russian intelligence, it seems quite likely that this number will increase even more. So, the unqualification and failure of the Russian intelligence leads to more and more new developments every day. The frequent mistakes of the Russian intelligence are on the agenda, and in addition, Russian unofficial sources often express these problems. Recently, a pro-war Russian unofficial sources made a very interesting statements on this issue, and the following statements were made. These statements: Russia is no longer a safe country. I'm sorry to say that our intelligence, which is one of the most trusted institutions, is now insufficient. And the opposition is gaining strength day by day because they were right in their discourse. Even ordinary Russian citizens have started to become dissidents because they are right in their discourse. Unfortunately, the government is in a difficult situation because of its false promises. And in Ukraine, our army is, to put it bluntly, socks in a big quagmire. And this quagmire was presented as a flower garden. And one of the main culprits for this quagmire is intelligence. A failed intelligence organization does us more harm than the enemy. So in recent days, Russian sources have been frequently criticizing intelligence officials, and with this incident, we can say that criticisms against intelligence officials has come to the agenda again. And Russian intelligence is in a really difficult situation. It's a matter of curiosity how long the situation can be sustained. So now it's your turn. What do you think? How do you think the assassination of the Russian partisans will affect the situation in the region? And do you think Russian intelligence is experiencing a weakness? Do you think Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, will take new measures related to these developments? What do you think about the opinion of the Russian sources about the Russian intelligence? Let me know in the comments, because you know that I read and I care a lot about all of your comments.